Good afternoon. My name is Jamal Habash. I am the Payment Recovery Unit at Geico. I wanted to take this time to discuss a legend in the civil rights community who unfortunately recently passed, John Lewis. Throughout this presentation, I'm going to give you an introduction of who John Lewis was, timeline of events, as well as just discuss his overall impact and death, and just really talk through how we can honor his life and legacy and continue to use his platform and use his messaging to impact not only the Black community, but all people as well. John Lewis was born in rural Alabama during the dark days of Jim Crow segregation, and he rose from poverty to become a leader of the civil rights movement, later was elected to Congress, as well as was a major contributor in the freedom rides. A lot of people attribute Rosa Parks to that, but John Lewis was also a major reason for a lot of the integration laws that went into place during the civil rights movement. It all really started in 1959. He was long interested in civil rights and was inspired by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He participated in a lot of different workshops, a lot of nonviolent confrontation while attending college in Nashville, Tennessee. And he went to participate in sit-ins and mass meetings in the landmark of the Freedom Rides of 1961 that tested racial segregation of the South. In 1963, he served as the chairman of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. He arrived in Selma, Alabama to help register Black people to vote, something that obviously was really restricted during Jim Crow, and he made sure to put his best foot forward to ensure Black people had the voice to really make an impact in the community. 8 months later, and just days after helping Martin Luther King Jr. organize the March on Washington that had the famous "I Had a Dream" speech, Lewis was arrested for the first time of more than 40 times for civil rights actions in Selma. He didn't allow those arrests to stop him. He continued fighting for what he believed was right and for the advancement of the Black community. In 1965, he was beaten by an Alabama State trooper while attempting to lead an estimated 600 voting rights marchers out of Selma on the way to Montgomery in a violent confrontation now known as Bloody Sunday. He ended up spending 2 days in the hospital. But he did not allow that to stop him. Nearly 2 weeks later, he joined thousands of others during the Selma to Montgomery voting rights march because he really understood that the way that meaningful change was going to happen was through allowing all people to have a voice and vote. In 1971, he took over as executive director of the Voter Education Project, a program of the Southern Regional Council. In 77, he made his first bid for Congress in Metro Atlanta. He lost a popular vote to a white politician in a runoff. Later that year, he was appointed by President Jimmy Carter to Direct Action, a federal volunteer agency. In 81, 4 years later, he won his first political office with his election as a member of the Atlanta City Council, where he served until 1986. And then in 86, he was elected to Congress representing Georgia's 5th District, which includes much of Atlanta, where he had a lot of his impact. He ended up being elected 16 times, most recently without opposition in 2018. Only once did he receive less than 70% of the vote. 2001, Lewis received the John F. Kennedy Profile and Courage Award for Lifetime Achievement, one of the multitude of honors, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor, presented by President Barack Obama in 2011. And then in 2009, Lewis and 4 others were arrested in Washington during a demonstration at the Embassy of Sudan, where they were protesting the expulsion of aid workers amid a humanitarian crisis. 2015, he joined Obama and former President George Bush and thousands of others in Selma at the commemoration of the 50th anniversary of Bloody Sunday. 2016, Lewis led a Democratic sit-in on the House floor to protest an inaction on gun control measures. And then, unfortunately, in 2019, he announced was designated with pancreatic cancer and passed away July 17th, yesterday. Really, just talking through the timeline of uh, John Lewis's life, you can really tell he was very, very, very committed to the advancement not only of the Black community but of all communities, and he was very interested in making sure everybody had equal rights, and that was evident in his entire lifetime. We unfortunately lost John Lewis yesterday, but his legacy does live on, and we have to do everything we can to continue to fight for those equal rights, because even today in 2020, we still live in a world where there's systemic racism and oppression, and we have to make sure our voices are heard. So it really boils down to a lot of what he was trying to do, making sure that all of us go ahead and vote and do everything we can to limit voter suppression, really stay educated and diligent in non-violently protesting, so that way we can ensure that meaningful change can occur. Thank you.